Hello, 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 and welcome to the second live stream from K3 Technology. I'm Eric Bowles, your host, CMO here at K3. We're going to get kicked off here in just 1 second. I did a little bit of housekeeping. I wanted to bring up a couple of notes. Um, let's see here. I've got, oh, yes, if you're joining us from LinkedIn, uh, chat with us, comment, etc. We'll see it here, and we'll identify your comments, especially during Q&A. There will be a Q&A session. Ask questions anytime you want. Um, for those of you who are new to K3 workshops, this is a zero pitch event. We do not pitch anything here. Um, we This is all educational. We very much believe that by bringing you up to speed and giving you tools that can help you, um, you making you a better business. Uh, that's our goal here. So, at any rate, we're going to start off. We have Sean Kircher, who is our AI consultant here at K3 and technical advisor, and Ryan McCormick, who's our director of business intelligence and business technology and all of that. So we are going to kick it off with Sean and bring Sean up on stage, and we're going to start to talk a little bit more about agentic AI and what it is and how we actually use it instead of just understanding what it is, how we actually use it. Sean, my man, welcome on stage. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm
Sure,
excited
man.
to we dive in the big buzzword of agentic AI, for the last how many months, and
Right.
love to explain on, what our thoughts are and what the future is.
Yeah, I mean, we keep hearing the word, we hearing all this stuff about AI, but it's kind of like the Amazon Alexa when it came out. It was like it was great at telling you a fart joke, but what's the actual use case of it? Nobody ever got that far with it. So that's what we're going to dive into is how do we actually start to use AI in business to where it can actually empower us. So, Sean, my man, I will let you take it away, and I'll join you back here soon.
Great. Thanks, Eric. All right. Yeah, I'd love to talk about Eric if you want to bring up my slides. So, yeah, what is agentic AI? Like I said, this buzzword is going around. I think of it as like your smartest coworker, one that gets just stuff done for you without being told every little step. It's autonomous, it works independently, it's creative, solves problems without being told how, and it's adaptive. It learns and improves over time. Example, an office AI that highlights emails, schedule meetings, writes reports automatically. Think of it as like a traditional AI follows a recipe, but agentic AI cooks based on what's in the fridge. Now, here are the key difference in plain terms. Traditional AI is fixed functionality. It needs clear instructions, breaks when things change. Example, email filter with rigid rules. With agentic AI, it adapts on the fly. It takes initiative, learns from feedback. Example, email assistant that highlights messages, suggests replies, schedule follow-ups. So I see it like a traditional AI as like a GPS where it really just needs exact instructions. But agentic AI is like a compass. It finds the best path of your goal. Now, here's agentic AI and how it actually works. It follows 4 steps in a loop. It asks, you give, the user gives its input, it thinks, it figures out what to do, and it acts. It does the work using tools and systems, and then learns, which is the most important part, and improves from the experience. This isn't just automation, it's intelligent action that gets better with time. Now, agentic AI understands what you mean, not just what you say. It understands your intent, it goes beyond keywords, it breaks tasks into steps and creates a logical plan. picks the best approach, chooses like the right tools for the job, and then it asks for help if needed. It knows when to involve a human, which I think is human in the loop is very important. Having agentic AI take over the whole workflow, I can see that in the future, but having people in front to actually review before acting upon is very important. It's like giving your smartest employee a goal and they figure out how to get it done. Now, this is where agentic AI becomes just as smart. It becomes your AI. It remembers your past interactions, builds on your history. It learns your preferences, adapts to your style, and it gets better over time, improves from use, and it can create a unique experience tailor made just for you. And it's not just AI, it's like your most reliable coworker who never sleeps. And this is really where the magic happens. Here are examples of the tools we've built and using all sorts of different tools. It can book appointments, find times, and avoid conflicts. It can send emails and texts, communicates with you. It can pull data from various systems and finds what you need fast. And it can start unique custom workflows and automate business processes. Tools it uses calendar, email, databases, customized workflows. Agentic AI connects to everything and acts on your behalf. Now, let's walk through a real world example. You say, reschedule my call with Anna. The agent finds the event, it checks everyone's availability, it suggests new times, and can send updates all on your behalf. I've rescheduled a call with Anna for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Now that's full task completion without lifting a finger. Now let's actually see how it works in the workplace. Now think about like a digital coworker in every department, one that's always on, knows your tools, never needs training. In HR, it's reviewing resumes, it's customizing onboarding so new hires can get what they need on day one. In finance, it's flagging unusual expenses, it's helping teams plan budgets, way more accurate. And in sales, it's figuring out which leads are most closely to close and even helping build the proposal. In operations, it keeps schedules tight, spotting problems before they happen. And that's the key. It's not replacing your team. It's giving them time back to focus on work with what's really matters. Now that's the power of agentic AI. And let's talk about data. Most systems give you insights. Agentic AI goes further. It takes action based on these insights. It combines data sources from sales, support, operations. It finds patterns across departments. It takes action. It adjusts the supply chain, personalize the customer experience. Think of it as an analytical with initiatives. And that's really the slides I have talking about agentic AI. We're gonna go switch back to Ryan. He's actually gonna give some like real world um, example demo.
Yeah, I think that's right. So, the thing that I keep hearing the most with any kind of AI is going to replace a ton of workers, and people are going to be out of jobs, and all that. And I think to some extent that is true. At low level jobs, there's going to be there's going to be some attrition, right? Like we're going to replace some simple tasks. But I think for the knowledge worker in any enterprise, this isn't replacing an employee. This is making an employee way more efficient. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's giving them, time back to do, other new things that they didn't have time for. And which is super important. And yeah, and I think everyone's scared of this, right? Of losing jobs, but yeah, I think in a different way. Like it will lose jobs, I think in some parts and industries, but it's really just enabling employees for sure.
And I think that's the other piece is that if as a business, if you're like, we're going to ignore AI, we're going to bury our head in the sand, we're not going to adopt it till we're forced to adopt it, you're going to lose jobs just by the simple act of losing business to a competitor that is engaging with AI, utilizing AI, and empowering their business with it. I think that's kind of my view on it.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like if you're not using AI, someone else is, and I think having AI gives you a competitive advantage.
For sure. Yeah. So to your point, we're going to jump over to Ryan real quick, and he's going to do some demos, and then Sean, we will be back with you later for a pretty cool voice assistant demo as well. So we will chat with you soon. I'm going to bring Ryan up on stage. Ryan, my friend, are we ready?
We are ready. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Sean, for that good introduction to Agentic AI. And as Eric and Sean mentioned, want to show kind of a couple examples here, starting pretty broad and simple, and then scaling out from there. So, wanted to actually show some things and how Agentic AI could be used today. And we're got some things we've been doing in house, and we have been creating some tools that are useful to us. And we start out with a really simple one here. One way you could use Agentic AI, and I'm actually doing it right now, is to monitor your emails. And I've got a process running where at 5 o'clock every day it's going to go through my inbox. It's going to take an overview of the emails that I had gotten for the day. It'll summarize them for me, and then it will drop a message to me in Microsoft Teams. And here's actually an output of one day. And I think this was a good one to share because it had a couple of interesting items in here that could be built upon. So you see, at the end of the day, I got some. I was notified that I had a couple of expenses that I'm going to have to submit to the finance team, and also I had somebody request a meeting for next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So by using agentic AI, it's able to go and kind of summarize what happened throughout the day in my inbox, give me this kind of snapshot overview. And while that's helpful, this could definitely be expanded upon. So something we may look into doing to build it out. So if I wanted to take this like to another level here, what I could do is I could set it up so if I see invoices come in, I could have the agentic AI actually realize that and send that to finance, so I could submit my invoices. Additionally, I think Sean had mentioned this as well. With the calendar integration, it could potentially submit a calendar request. So you could use agentic AI to go and check my calendar when it sees that request come in. If I'm available at that time, that 1 o'clock on Tuesday, it could have sent the email on my behalf. And another way that I could potentially make this more efficient for me would be doing smart categorization. So I could expand on what the agent is currently doing. I could potentially group things uh, by task, maybe by client, by topic. I could get it to understand what a high priority item is, so I could see that kind of right in my face when I go look at the end of the day. And so that's a very simple example of how you can use agentic AI, but it can definitely be a time saver. Give me kind of that quick summary snapshot. And as noted, I think this is a pretty interesting use case because it's a simple foundation, but as you can see by some of these potential enhancements, it could become very, very powerful and really start to take a lot of time consuming tasks that I would have to do daily, and it can start to manage those for me, which is obviously the real big benefit with using agentic AI. We have another item that we have been working on here, and that I actually use daily as well, is a task extraction workflow. This also works on my emails. And what it's doing is when I have an email come in, the AI agent is checking and monitoring each email as it comes through. And what it's looking for is to see if that email has basically an ask or an actionable task that's been asked of me. And you can see here on the left, these are actually instructions that I have the agent using. And so as each email comes in, it looks, and if it finds a task or if I'm being asked to do something, I have an actionable item, it's going to add it to my Microsoft task list. I don't know if people are familiar with this. Within Microsoft Office, there's a ton of tools that are available. One of them is a to-do or task list. And I think we've actually got a live demo here of this. So I'm going to pull up my task list here. We've got a couple in here now that you can see. And I believe we're going to have somebody send me an email request here. And so this agent here is running in real time. And it's looking for my incoming emails, and then later is going to send me a email. And so what will happen is she's going to send me this email with a specific task. My agent's going to pick that up. It's going to detect that it's something that I'm going to be asked to do. And it's going to add it to my task list. Now, keep in mind, this agent is running and it's checking any emails that are coming through. Anything that does not apply is going to just basically ignore it. So looks like there seems to be a message. And we'll wait for it to come through. And my agent monitoring everything as it comes through the email system. And we see that pop up here in a second. And this has been a very helpful agent for me because there it is. We just got this message from Melissa at the end of this week. So basically, submit my vacation request. So pretty simple agent, but this is one that could also be expanded upon. Some areas where I think you could do some improvements with this. Is within these to-do lists, I could have multiple to-do lists or multiple task lists. So you could potentially have the agent look and determine should this task go in a specific group. So I could actually have it redirected, and I could have maybe I have a task list that's from management, or I could have task lists that are maybe client specific. We could train this agent to look and not just create and add this task here, but it could be smart enough to kind of categorize it or potentially even perform other actions. That's maybe another presentation we could give is have agents that are connected. So if it sees a task, it realizes that it can take an actionable item based on that task. Maybe it won't just add it here, but it'll also go and pull a report for me, or it'll send an email. It's really limitless as far as what we could do here with these. So there's an example of kind of a real world example of agentic AI, an agent that we're using to help us kind of manage our email internally. And got one more here we're going to talk on. Pretty big term here that we're seeing now with agentic AI, which is sentiment analysis. And it's something that's quite broad. It can be very helpful in a lot of areas. I think it could apply to a lot of companies. What sentiment analysis is it's able to monitor data or communications and basically get a general temperature on how things are going as far as if you're seeing things that are positive, negative, there's multiple things that we can analyze here. So some examples would be maybe you want to monitor your social media feed. You've had a new product launch and you want to keep an eye on that and see what are people saying overall about our product or our launch. How did that go? Um, and what the agentic AI will do is it'll keep an eye on this data as it comes through, and it's able to determine if what it's seeing is positive, negative, or neutral. And we have a simple demo here on this that we mocked up. And so what we've got here is a simple little demo that's just doing some basic sentiment analysis. And in this example, we're treating it as if we had with like the product launch idea. We company had launched a product and they wanted to monitor their social media channels. We got a live dashboard here that can kind of tell us what's going on. I've set a threshold to tell us is the sentiment status positive or negative. And as we add messages to this, we should see the sentiment can change. And again, it's the agentic AI that's managing all this for us. So we don't have to have somebody constantly looking um, at the social media. So let us be proactive. If things kind of start to go off the rail, we can get a heads up. So we've got a couple of positive comments here on this. And if somebody would come in and say, um, I don't like this product or too expensive, etc., as that gets submitted, the agentic AI is going to assign a category here. Obviously saw that it was negative. You'll see here our live dashboard, we dropped below our threshold. And I should have pointed this out before, but we had a positive status previously. Once that negative message came in, it dropped to low. So this could then trigger a potential chain of events internally. It could notify people that need to need to go review social media. People are complaining about something, etc. So it's the agentic AI that's watching this for us, so we don't have to have people spend their time kind of collecting data, seeing what's coming in. The agentic AI is kind of the brains behind it, and it lets us know what's happening externally. And see a couple ways that we could expand on that. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. A couple ways that we could expand on that is when we're doing sentiment analysis. Really, as I know, it can apply to several things. That was a basic social media example, but some other areas that we could use sentiment analysis would be if we were looking at our email box. Let's say we've got a customer service box and we want to monitor sentiment with what's coming into the box. If we detect something that somebody sent an email that was not particularly nice or friendly, we could flag a manager, let them know that there's a email that needs immediate attention. Could potentially even use agentic AI to draft an email response, and have that ready to go. And then another example of where sentiment analysis could really be helpful is if you're using voice. So if we had a customer service department or taking customer calls, we can actually perform analysis on those calls in near real time as they're coming through. So you could potentially have if you've got an agent who's taking a customer call, customer starts to complain, the agentic AI could pick up that the sentiment on that call is turning negative, could potentially message a manager and say, this is going on right now. You may need to step in or be at the ready. You could even expand that by having the agentic AI not just alert the manager, but it could send them, here's a status of the call so far. Here's what's been discussed. If you wanted to take that a step further, could even maybe look up to your knowledge base and say, here's the customer's complaint. Here's some potential solutions. So really allows us to be proactive by monitoring what's going on, and have your assistant, manager, whomever, come into the call, not be totally blind, and they can be prepared to kind of jump in and take action. So couple demos, or I'm sorry, couple examples there that we have. Some of them are fairly basic. We're going to go back to Sean here in a minute. And he's going to show one that's a bit more detailed. But we really wanted to show just some examples of how simple it is to start using agentic AI. So I would just encourage people as you see these, think through how could this apply to me? How does this apply to my daily task? How does it apply to my department, my company? It's really endless the ways that this can be integrated into your organization. And as we saw with some of these, just monitoring your emails, for example, it can really be very basic and go from there. Sky's the limit on this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's we've talked about this in the innovation team, and you and I, Ryan, talked about this yesterday just a little bit. Is that these demos, while there's three different demos of the way to use agentic AI, that's three of literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I mean, it's literally something where if you can dream it, it can be created. So I'm thinking like, for example, in the architecture, engineering, and construction space where you have a lot of different entities that are all touching the same project from, plumbing and electrical and manufacturing and supply and all this stuff. It's almost like you could create a project health dashboard where you would get a real-time sentiment analysis of across the board how frustrated people are, how happy they are, where the rough spots are at. Like, is that a fair assessment of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great example. I think one thing you touch on there that we may not have brought up yet, but I think is going to kind of feed into what Sean's going to do next is the ability to use agentic AI on your own data, right? Your own SaaS data, your own platform, to be able to leverage that and use agentic AI against that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. All right, so we are going to jump back over to Sean here. Ryan, thank you so much, man. Great demos. I appreciate that. And we will jump back over to Ryan here or Sean here in just a moment for a really cool voice demo. Questions. You have questions? Definitely leave them in LinkedIn, leave them in the comments. We will get to them. We're going to have a Q&A at the end if there's anybody with some questions. So post them in the chat over on LinkedIn, and we will get to those. But now I will bring back up my friend Sean Kircher with a AI voice demo that's pretty cool. Sean, welcome back, my friend. I think you're on mute, Sean.
Yep, I'm back. Of course I'm on mute, right?
Right. This is the story of all tech geeks, right? It's like we can do really, really complicated stuff, but we can't unmute a microphone.
Yeah, I have a slide to share if you want to throw that up.
Yeah, I will transition to you and your screen here.
All right, now this is the last demo we'll be going through. So, this is our voice-based support agent. So it's connected directly to our Halo ticketing system. It's our ticketing system that we use at K3. Now think of Halo as like a system that our team uses to manage, resolve, support tickets, everything from bugs to feature requests. And let me show you how we use this in the real world. We plugged in 8,000 tickets, historical tickets, into our Halo system, into a vector database. Now the AI agent can now answer support questions, suggest next steps, even file tickets, all by voice. This isn't just a chatbot; it's like your AI teammate. So now this agent can answer support questions based on past tickets, recommend next steps, submit new tickets. What we're really showing is the broader potential, really combining your company's data like support tickets, docs, internal wikis with your AI. And you can create agents that speak intelligently about anything your team needs. Think about it as like a customer support, HR and IT help desk, a sales knowledge assistant, or onboarding tools. And the key difference is the data is in the agent and it learns and adapts and keeps getting smarter. We really, without having a human in the loop, really manually training. So this demo is about support, but imagine agents like this in various departments like we discussed: HR, sales, IT. So anywhere you have your knowledge and tasks, agentic AI can help, and really that's the blueprint. And I'm going to switch it over to my phone, and then we're going to give it a call.
Yeah. So Sean, obviously, like when I first started hearing about agentic AI voice agents, of course, my mind, because I'm old, so anybody else who was born in 1786 like I was, um, your first thought is remember from the late 90s, early 2000s, the automated phone trees, right? Where you'd call and be
Mhm.
like, for this, press one. People got so mad at businesses. And so I was super out on voice agents. I was like, like, we've already tried this experiment. Like, we know this doesn't work. Like, it's not going to work a second time. But then when you showed me the product and it's like, it's not that, for English press one, for Spanish press two, for finance press one, for support press two. Like it's actually interactive. It listens. It can look up my account. It knows stuff about me just from my phone number. Like it's like having a real conversation with a real human being. So I mean, I think it's a huge separation from where we used to be with voice attendants, you know?
For sure. And yeah, it's crazy where it knows everything about you. I remember back in the day when I was working at Circuit City, hearing voice. I think the voice came out where you can actually dial your number. So I think we came a long way ahead of voice recognition. Now actually be able to have like an agent brain. Um, so yeah, pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Cool. So you're going to show us a voice agent. I'm going to switch over to showing your phone, and I'll let you take it from there, my friend.
Cool. All right, so we're gonna give it a call. The number one thing is it's able to actually recognize me. It does a lookup by my phone number on caller ID. So this is a test account, so it'll say Sean Test. So yeah, let's give it a call.
Hi, Sean App Test. This is Jessica, your support AI agent. What issue can I help you with today?
Yeah, I'm having some issues connecting to VPN this morning. Can you help me?
Here are some solutions from past resolved issues related to VPN connection problems. 1. Check VPN settings. Ensure all VPN authentication settings are correct. Re-enter the shared secret and try connecting again. 2. System updates. Make sure your system is updated. Disabling and then re-enabling IPv6 has helped in some cases. 3. Restart services. Restart the IKE and IPsec policy agent service. You can do this through Task Manager services. If these solutions don't resolve your issue, there are additional steps like resetting WAN mini ports and checking firewall settings. Let me know if you need further assistance.
Yeah, I tried all those solutions. Can you just create a support ticket for me?
Your ticket was submitted successfully. The ticket number is 111509. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a very, very tough morning. I'm actually locked out in 365 account. So how can you help me with that?
Here are some solutions from past resolved issues related to being locked out of a Microsoft 365 account. 1. Password reset. Try resetting your password through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center if you have access, or contact your IT department to reset it for you. 2. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. If you're having issues with MFA, try resetting your MFA settings or contact your IT support for assistance.
Okay,
3.
yeah, I'm
Account
having.
unlock.
I tried all that. Can we'll just submit another ticket?
Your ticket was submitted successfully. The ticket number is 111510. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yeah, and I'm gonna call and I like to see what the status of the ticket is.
The status of your ticket number 111510 is currently marked as new. It was opened by K3 Automation Services. If you need any further assistance or updates, feel free to ask. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that's it. Thank you. Now that was a quick demo of what are the possibilities with connecting your data. One example that can really help streamline and really be the first person on a phone to answer questions and submit tickets without a live agent. So yeah, it can be very powerful.
Yeah, that's and I noticed when it was looking things up and it was saying, one, Office 365 this, two MFA, or one password, two MFA. So that's really in how your data is structured on the back end. So you could get rid of the new one, it would just say, um, it would just read out whatever text is there. It's reading out the one and the two and the three because that's how your data on the back end is structured. So the more human you make your data on the back end, the more human the AI agent is on the front end. Is that correct?
That's correct. Exactly.
Super cool. Yeah, it's like just really impressive, like how it, um, you know, uh, how it operates compared to how we used to do it with automated agents and phone trees, having to navigate a million things. You used to work for Comcast/Xfinity, and even in the early days of that, where it was it would be if you'd like to speak to an operator, say operator, you'd be like operator, operator,
Right.
operator, and
Right.
you keep cutting each other off. And it's like this is much more like you cut her off in the middle of it and said, "I've tried all that. Let's just go ahead and submit a ticket," and she picked it up right away and ran with it. Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if I was able to actually have this as an operator, I think a user experience being customized to you would be way much better than just going through a robotic system, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think I'm gonna bring everybody back up on stage just briefly. I don't know that we have any questions, but, you know, um, thank you to, you, Sean, and you, Ryan, for the demos, and Melissa, our behind the scenes, guru who's making a lot of this stuff happen, and if you do have questions, by all means, reach out to anybody at K3. Info at k3tech.com. Reach out to Tom, reach out to Emily, reach out to Ian, reach out to any of us. We're always happy to chat. We're always happy to jump on a call and just kind of walk through things and explain things. And actually, our very own Melissa has a really good question, right? How much do these solutions cost? And Ryan?
The question was, how much did they cost?
Yeah, that's I think I know it's a hard question to answer, but I think it's a question that a lot of people definitely ask, right?
Yeah, obviously the answer to those things it varies. So it's going to be based on utilization. I guess we looked at a couple things today. So for the couple examples I gave where you're monitoring your email, I can't give an exact number, but I built those off of Power Automate and our internal um, LLM setup. So it's done based on execution, number of executions to monitor the emails. It's very, very low. And then every time it goes and calls the LLM, you get tokens is the term. You're using tokens for each time that call goes out. Um, I actually did ours, the one that we saw during the demo. I'm actually using GPT 3.5 Turbo because I wanted to see if I could actually use one of the lower level, for lack of a better term, LLMs to make it cheaper. And I would guess pennies a day, probably. Very, very inexpensive. For some of the stuff that Sean showed, obviously, much more specialized things there, and you're dealing with voice and a lot of extra data. So
Sure. But it's not by any means expensive. It's not like we're talking like, hey, this is a $10,000 or $5,000 a month solution. Like these types of things can be obtained fairly economically, and especially when you look at the ROI on them, the total cost of ownership when it comes to efficiencies within the business. Like there's you run this through an ROI calculator, and you get clarity fairly quickly, I would assume.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's one of the things that we like to ask people as we go and help them kind of look for solutions. Is they have something that needs to be automated, or they have tasks they need help with. One of the first things we always like to ask is, how much time does this currently take, either you or your internal staff?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
multiply that over a week or a month. And to your point, Eric, we're spending a couple cents a day to monitor my emails, and it gives me back 2 hours a week. Yeah, it's a no brainer.
Well, and you look at, like, Sean, with the voice agent, right? It's like, what is the value of a good customer experience?
Right.
I call, I can't get hold of somebody, I get hold of somebody somewhere down the road. It's, it's 24 hours to get a call back, something like that. Um, what is the ROI of that versus somebody that answers right away, has an answer right away, gives me things to try right away, and then can submit a ticket? All that took you what, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that?
Exactly, and, it really if you have a big call center and your call volume's really high, say 1,000 calls a day, I mean, just think about, how you can actually reduce that head count, and be able to, even it or really not reduce, but be able to enable it, like, on off hours, and be able to answer questions and submit tickets and things like that. I think is very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I don't think we have any other comments. This was scheduled for an hour. We're gonna give you a little bit more than 15 minutes back. Um, Melissa, thank you for all your help. Ryan, thank you. Sean, thank you. Everybody that chose to attend, thank you. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties and the feedback and all that. And we're getting through all those details, and we will see you. Go to k3tex.com /events. That's where all of our events are listed. We're going to do this next month and the month after that. And if you have ideas about things you want to learn, let us know. We're more than happy to, kind of change what's midstream and build content that everybody wants to see and build workshops that everybody wants to see. So, let us know. And we'll see you in a month. Thank you all. And talk to you all soon.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.